Why didn't Minato save Rin, the fastest shinobi ever born, able to teleport wherever he marked? And yet, Rin just dies, killed by Kakashi's Raikiri because she thrust herself on it. We're gonna be answering this question through two different lenses in this video. From an in-universe plot perspective, and also from a more out-of-universe character perspective. Now, to give the context of Rin's death, she was captured by the Mist Village, and the Mist Village sealed the Three Tails inside of Rin and then released her so that she would go back to the Leaf Village, and then the Three Tails would go ballistic, try to destroy the Leaf Village. It was all a ploy so that the Leaf Village would be completely devastated, and by surprise because nobody would be expecting Rin to essentially unleash the Three Tails on them. The Mist Village even sent Anbu after Rin to quote-unquote make sure she believes she is escaping, but it was all a ploy so that the plan would succeed. Kakashi obviously tries to rescue Rin, and when he is fighting against the Anbu Mist ninjas, Rin, knowing she has the Three Tails inside of her, and not wanting to cause destruction in the Leaf Village, decides to thrust herself on Kakashi's Raikiri, ending the threat completely, so to speak. Now, this is the first layer of what happened in that fatidical day, because the second layer was actually Madara's entire plan to brainwash Obito into becoming a servant of the infinite Tsukuyomi cause. Old Man Madara manipulated the Mist Village to capture Rin, and he even put the heart seal on her as well to make sure she would obey Madara's commands and return to the village, but she managed to get rid of the seal by getting Raikiri'd. The exact same method Obito uses in the war arc when he fights against Kakashi, because Madara actually put a seal on Obito's heart as well. All those events were orchestrated by Madara so that Obito would see Rin dying by Kakashi's hand. Madara probably knew that Obito would awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan in that situation, but even if he didn't, Obito would be brainwashed. And that's what Madara needed. There's the thing, if Minato was there, perhaps things could have gone differently, right? Of course, if Rin was already captured, and if she already had the Three Tails inside of her, then her situation would be bad regardless. But if they could warn Minato about it, he could do something, right? The thing is, we do not know what Minato was doing at that point. When Obito is rushing to the battlefield to help Kakashi and Rin, wearing Spiral Zetsu around him, he even asks, "Where's Minato?" Because that's a pretty important question. If Minato was with them, Obito knew things would go better, but Spiral Zetsu just says, "It appears he is on another mission." Because we know this is all a ploy so that Obito awakens the Mangekyo and gets brainwashed, Spiral Zetsu could very well be lying here. Perhaps Minato wasn't on a mission, perhaps he was already Hokage. After all, we don't know exactly how long Obito stayed in that cave with Madara and the Zetsus. And if Minato was already Hokage, he wouldn't just leave the village to go and rescue someone. The thing is, sure, he would want to do that if he knew Rin and Kakashi were in trouble, even if he was Hokage, but he wouldn't know, right? How would he know? They don't have phones, they can't communicate like that very fast. And even more so if Minato was literally on another mission. Then he certainly wouldn't have the information and wouldn't be able to go to where Kakashi and Rin were. And some may even say that he wouldn't be able to do so even if he knew, because he wouldn't have a mark. Because the thing is, Minato gave a kunai marked to Kakashi in the Kakashi Gaiden arc. He used that kunai to go to Kakashi and Rin whenever he is fighting against all the stone ninjas and saves them. Unfortunately, that was after Obito got crushed by the famous rock, but that kunai saved Kakashi and Rin. Would Kakashi and Rin still be carrying that marked kunai? We don't know. Maybe they were, but maybe they weren't. And I don't think Minato would have marked Kakashi or Rin themselves like he does Obito when they fight against each other, because it's a little invasive, if that makes sense. It's very clear that Minato gives Kakashi the kunai because he doesn't want to mark Kakashi himself. After all, Kakashi is not an enemy. Obviously, he's not going to have any qualms about marking enemies in the heat of battle, but marking an ally, especially someone like Kakashi, seems very invasive in terms of privacy, essentially. Like, imagine Kakashi knowing that anytime Minato wants to, he can literally teleport to where Kakashi is. Imagine if he's in the bathroom or something, I don't know. That's just weird. So if they had a kunai, Minato wouldn't even know what the hell was going on, because, if anything, Madara would have made sure that Rin would be captured and transformed into the Jinchuriki of the Three Tails, and Minato wouldn't know about it. Because Minato could absolutely ruin their plans. If Rin had a marked kunai or something else marked on her, Minato could simply go to her and take her away. But obviously, Madara would make sure Minato was on another mission, or if he was Hokage already, he wouldn't pay too much attention to it. Wouldn't know exactly the circumstances of when Rin was captured, but if Minato was already Hokage, it was probably during a mission when Rin was out of the village and probably by herself. And if not, with other people from her team, because it's implied that Kakashi came to Rin's rescue after he found out she was captured by the Mist Village, or maybe Kakashi was with Rin and they were split during their mission and that's when they got Rin. But regardless, there was no time to notify Minato. Kakashi had to do something, and if Minato wasn't Hokage and he really was on another mission, then yeah, there's nothing much Minato could have done here. And as per Madara's grand plan, Obito would witness Kakashi killing Rin. Like, it could have been something else that killed her, it could have been the Mist Ninjas. Madara was probably counting that Kakashi would finish her off, but she finished herself off anyway. And for Obito, seeing Kakashi, his best friend, the guy he became friends with just as he was about to die, killing Rin, was probably the worst thing he could have seen that day. So that's for a more in-universe perspective. Now for a more character, out-of-universe and thematic perspective. Why doesn't Minato save Rin? Well, obviously because the story has to happen, right? This is the first very obvious explanation. If Minato saves Rin here, then Obito technically doesn't have to become a villain in the story. Imagine if Obito goes back to the Leaf Village after Minato rescues Rin and Kakashi and whatever. Then we don't have a plot. Could be an interesting what if, I suppose, but this is not the point of the video. The point is that Minato's character is supposed to always be late. It is supposed to be ironic. The fastest character ever is never on time. He's always late when it counts. For example, in the Kakashi Gaiden arc, when he's too late to save Obito. Or in the flashback when Naruto was born, he was too late to go back to Kushina before Obito could extract the 9 tails out of her. And the same thing happens here. Minato was not there. Well, I guess you couldn't even say he was late because he doesn't show up. That we know of, at least. We don't know for how long Obito was clutching Rin's corpse after the fight against the Miss Anbu. Maybe Minato arrived later or something. It would make sense and be interesting for Minato to see the death and catastrophe there. I wonder what they thought about it. Wow, someone killed like 20 or more Mist Anbu ninjas with wood-style ninjutsu. What the hell just happened here, man? Was it you, Kakashi? I mean, I don't think so, because you don't have wood style, right? And it happened when you were passed out? What? Now, if you think about it, the Mist Village kidnapping a leaf ninja is an absolute act of war. Yes, Madara admits to Obito and there in the Kamui dimension that, yeah, man, I manipulated the Mist Village into kidnapping Rin so that Kakashi would go after her. And I also waited for a moment when Minato would be out. But did Rin's death happen during the Third Great Ninja War, or was it after the war had ended already? Because Minato becomes Hokage pretty shortly after the war ends, so we have to assume, if Madara is speaking the truth to Obito, that it was happening during the war, and we know that the Leaf Village was at war with the Mist Village. We get confirmation of that in my guy's flashback when he is faced by the entire 7 Just Swordsman platoon, and obviously my Dai arrives to save him. So from the Mist Village's perspective, that would just be another act of war. But if the war had already ended, then obviously the Leaf Village would have to take action and retaliate somehow, because this is insane. Trying to unleash a tail beast on your village? Definitely not cool, man. Then again, you're kinda gifting your tail beast to the other village. Sure, it can cause a lot of destruction, but you have to assume that eventually the ninjas from the other village will be able to tame it and seal it. I mean, the Leaf Village has the 9 tails, the strongest of the tail beasts, and they're able to seal that on Jinchuriki. So, why would the Mist Village assume that the 3 tails would be too much for the Leaf Village to handle? There are some glaring flaws in the plan, but the plan was supposed to be flawed that way, because it didn't matter. It was all Madara's ploy for Obito to watch his beloved Rin dying. And coming back to Minato, if he was on another mission, it means he was going to be late, just like he always is in the Naruto series. So yeah, Minato is kind of a perfect guy. If there's a Gary Stu in the Naruto series, that's going to be Minato. He doesn't have any personality flaws. I mean, I guess you could say when he was 8 years old in the academy, he wasn't assertive enough, and he let Kushina be bullied, but he was 8. And then he makes up for it by saving Kushina from the Cloud Village kidnappers. But you know what I mean, when Minato is an adult, or even a teenager in his Minato one-shot that was released recently, he has absolutely no flaws whatsoever. If you take a look at every other Hokage, they're gonna have deep flaws. Not Minato though, he is perfect. I guess the only problem he has is that he is late, which isn't something he can control. It's not as though he is not teleporting to where he needs to teleport because he doesn't want to or because he doesn't feel like it, it's because circumstances didn't allow him to. Even in the war when he slashes Obito and Obito is trying to become the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, he realizes, oh my god, the masked man I was fighting against was Obito. I guess I was too late recognizing that fact. So yeah, the theme is that Minato was also late to notice that it was actually Obito attacking the village, and if Minato had noticed it was Obito, things could have gone differently. Maybe Minato could have talked no jutsu to Obito. After all, there was a 14-year-old Obito way in over his head, but Minato was too late. He only realized that fact after he was revived by the Edo Tensei. His character is so much about being late that the first thing he asks Naruto whenever they have a first real interaction that is not Minato's spirit instead of Naruto is if he was late. Minato arrives to the 4th Great Ninja War battlefield after he teleports that massive Ten Tails Bijudama away, and the first thing he tells his son is a question asking if he was late, and Naruto says he wasn't. He was just in time. Well, technically he was just in time to save the alliance from a Ten Tails Bijudama that was going to wipe them all out, but Minato was kinda late because about 5 minutes ago in universe, Neji got impaled by a twig alongside probably thousands of other ninjas from the alliance. And obviously by that point, Minato had a much better relationship with Naruto already because they quote-unquote talked inside of Naruto's consciousness after Minato left his chakra. You know, during the Pain arc when the Nine Tails almost took over Naruto, but Minato saved him. So Naruto was not pissy at Minato as he was when he first met the guy, but it would have been more interesting if Naruto had said, yeah, you actually are late, but better late than never. It would have been more thematically interesting if Naruto told Minato he was late. After all, that's supposed to be Minato's great flaw. Or not even flaw, but the irony of his character. And we kinda see that playing out a few times during the 4th Great Ninja War final battle there. When Minato is fighting against Obito there a few times, he's gonna be late to save Naruto, but other people save him like Tobirama and even Hiruzen. And even when Minato is going to put his half of the Nine Tails into Naruto after Madara yanked the other half out of Naruto, Black Zetsu steals it. So you could almost say Minato was too late to give that to Naruto. Luckily for him, Obito took back over Black Zetsu and he was able to save Naruto, but if you were to depend on Minato, Naruto would be dead. So obviously Minato could not have saved Rin in such a pivotal moment. Now, because Minato was on another mission according to Madara, he technically isn't late, but it also combines the themes of Minato's character and his quote-unquote flaw with what needs to happen to Obito, Kakashi, and Rin there. He was late to save Obito, he is now late to save Rin, he's late to save Kushina eventually, he's late to realize Obito was the masked man. So it would be really cool to see a small flashback from Minato's perspective when he goes back to that battlefield and collects Kakashi, who was unconscious, seeing the destruction around the wood style, being completely puzzled by it, and also seeing Rin's dead body there, because I don't think Obito took that back with him. Even though he probably would, maybe he would just leave the corpse there so that her family could bury her. After that, he kinda didn't care anymore, so he probably just left Rin anyways. And upon seeing her dead body, Minato could even think to himself, I am late again. It could have been during the same small flashbacks Minato was having when he was realizing that Obito was the masked man all along. Before he slashes him, and doesn't kill Obito. He should have aimed for the head. He didn't learn that from Thanos. If Minato had aimed the slash for the head, then Obito doesn't become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. But anyway, it was a pretty deep slash, and Obito would have died if he didn't suck the Ten Tails into him to completely heal him out of anything he suffered, even Kakashi's Raikiri through his heart. The amount of abuse Obito took in the war isn't heard of, but regardless, Minato could not have saved Rin because he was supposed to be late. And also because Madara planned it so that Minato wouldn't be available at that time. Watch this other video showing up on your screen right now, I'm sure you're gonna like it. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely ring those notifications so you know when the videos come out. All those things help me out a lot and keep the channel going. And thank you so much for watching.